Fourth Amendment of the Constitution, which prohibits unreasonable searches and seizures and requires any search warrant to be judicially sanctioned and supported by probable cause, is a key part of our safety as United States citizens. However, there has been reasonable debate over whether or not our Fourth Amendment right is actually respected by law enforcement and politicians across the country.
Who would be complaining? Somebody whose privacy was violated. You can't have your privacy violated if you don't know your privacy is violated, right? Can you?
I disagree with that. I mean, I think if the tree falls in the forest, it makes a noise whether you're there to see it or not.
Every single day, the rights of innocent civilians are violated with no justifiable reason. This can be seen with stop and frisk, a random search that is conducted by police officers who claim suspicious activity. When the Supreme Court deemed stop and frisk a legal practice, they set up a standard of reasonable suspicion which police officers must have before conducting a search. In almost 1 out of 3 stops, however, the NYPD failed to meet the standard and usually stopped and frisked citizens with unreasonable suspicion.
The Terry stop, the stop and frisk is not a term we use in the federal system. The Terry stop, which is the stop of an individual based on reasonable suspicion that they're engaged in criminal activity, is a very important law enforcement tool.
Nearly 150,000 stops over the last 6 years are found unconstitutional or lack any legal justification. 9 out of 10 of those stopped in 2011, for example, were neither arrested nor given summonses, illustrating that random people are being stopped and searched without probable cause, a direct violation of the Fourth Amendment. Even though statistics say otherwise, people with political power often believe that stop and frisk is effective and constitutional.
In my opinion, I see what's going on here, I see what's going on in Chicago. I think stop and frisk. In New York City, it was so incredible the way it worked. Now, we had a very good mayor, but New York City was incredible.
But when you take into consideration the opinions of those actually affected by stop and frisk, there are different viewpoints.
Could be coming from the store, minding my own business, or getting off of work, and they just look at me, feel like, oh yeah, let's get this guy right here. Like, hey buddy, like, what's the problem, It's uncalled for.
The practice of stop and frisk is only one of many ways our rights to privacy is violated. Along with stop and frisk, illegal checkpoints placed around the country, for example, clearly violate our Fourth Amendment right from unreasonable searches.
It's crazy. We gotta quit allowing this kind of stuff.
Firewood or plants with you today?
I don't answer questions at suspicionless checkpoints.
These illegal checkpoints allow officers to check the cars of millions of citizens with no reasonable suspicion.
Here's the thing. The Fourth Amendment, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. It's important we don't give this stuff up. People say, oh, it's a checkpoint, they're just checking your fruit. They're trying to stop invasive species, this or that. But the question we have to ask is, at what point are we willing to give up our rights? If we're willing to give up constitutional rights for one thing, why not give them up for everything?
But acts of violating the Fourth Amendment do not stop here. Our right to privacy is also violated in a different form, one that is much less tangible.
And I will not let the Patriot Act, the most unpatriotic of acts, go unchallenged. The bulk collection of all Americans' phone records, all of the time, is a direct violation of the Fourth Amendment.
Referring to the Patriot Act, politicians such as Ron Paul and Representative James Sensenbrenner verbally admit to the acts as unconstitutional.
Lacks a viable legal foundation under Section 215, implicates constitutional concerns under the First and Fourth Amendments, raises serious threat to privacy and civil liberties as a policy matter, and has shown only limited value. I agree with that.
Section 215 of the Patriot Act allows the government to obtain a secret court order requiring third parties, such as telephone companies, to hand over any records or other tangible things if deemed relevant to an international terrorist attack. Buried deep inside hundreds of pages, many Americans aren't even aware that this section exists, making it hard for it to be challenged. Supporters of this section argue that Section 215 is only used for good. However, recent decades have shown otherwise. Because Section 215, the U.S. government now claims the records of every phone call of every person living in the United States. meaning that the government has been tracking our calls and monitoring everything we have been saying for a very long time, without our consent. Our privacy as American citizens is clearly in danger, and not many people are aware of it. Whether it's violated by police officers on the street or indistinctly by our own government, America's false pledge is a danger to all.